Yo guys, Vision here back with more Minecraft content and welcome back to our Forever World episode 2 in our new godlike seed, a realm that is shared amongst me and my friends, which has been running for over 750 in-game days, and let me tell you, so far it has been fun, challenging, chaotic, but also exciting all at the same time as we progress towards the end game and get into the later parts of this future series. Now in episode 2 we have progressed rapidly but endured so many struggles along the way with losing our loot and having to start over time and time again, which I'll discuss in a bit more detail in this video. So on that note, let's get right into it. So first things first, it's worth giving you guys an overview on the series so far and how we have got to this point. Like I said, episode 1 was the introduction to the world, giving you guys an overview, a rundown of how we got to day 250, the introduction on how we started, all of the challenges that we had to overcome to get to that point. And now from this point onwards, we're sort of, once we've recapped episode 1, the starting point, establishing farms and getting a thriving community going, we are now at episode 2, where we are going from days 250 to roughly about 750, where we are going to encounter the Nether and how we get to that point with getting geared up, getting the right amount of loot, and all of the challenges we've endured so far. And it just so turned out that getting to that point was not easy by any means. And even though I have now completed Minecraft in the previous series with the 25 episodes that we did in terms of getting back into Minecraft for the first time in over 10 years, playing survival and completing everything on our list, going into this world, I thought it would be just as easy to get back to that level, defeat the end dragon, get to the end, and get an elytra, but it has not come that way, or has not come to us as quickly as we had hoped. And in this world, we have encountered so many different challenges with finding diamonds and then losing our loot. Myself and my friend had a little bit of a mess around, and we ended up placing some lava on top of each other to kill each other, and we're just having a bit of fun, you know, as you do in PvP situations. And it ended up happening that he placed lava on myself in a corner, where I then lost all my loot. I was pissed, to say the least, but it was just a bit of fun that turned out to me losing all of my loot. And it just so happened that in the early game from the ancient cities, I ended up finding some really good loot. From the ancient cities, I ended up finding some mending and unbreaking leggings with protection 4, and some other cool things like a good sword with sharpness 4, I think it was, and a fortune 2 pickaxe, which was both diamond, and it just sort of sets you back. But as you do, you have to overcome these setbacks and start again. And losing my loot was a little bit annoying, so we had to start rebuilding our loot. So in order to get to the Nether and find a fortress to end up getting to the end, and of course going through to defeat the Ender Dragon. Now I actually found from feedback from my friend that in this world, my friend had come up with this really cool fishing style base. He really likes this sort of traditional builds and the more peaceful aspects of Minecraft, which is great to have a good mixture and variety of different players in this world. And I ended up using his fishing pool and ended up getting all my loot back just by doing this, by simply sitting here peacefully, fishing away, getting cool enchanting books, getting a load of XP, and with the diamonds that I already had spare set aside, I made some good armor, and with the XP, we ended up crafting a pretty good set of armor that therefore we could go into the Nether. However, once we got to the Nether, I ended up dying in the Nether again and lost some more of my loot. I just at this point, I guess, was rushing too much ahead and was not taking it as seriously as maybe I should have, because again, to remind you guys, we are playing in hard mode. So in the Nether, if you encounter the Crimson Biome and come across a load of piglins, or you end up bumping into a bastion, which has happened and you'll see in this world, where you end up just dying within an instant, depending on what, of course, loot you have. But if you do not take things serious and you don't lock in and you don't focus, you can die really quickly, especially in harsh environments such as the Nether. So fishing was also a good way to get back into into a rhythm, get some good loot set up, especially a spare set of armor. A little tip there for you guys if you guys are new: just have a spare set of armor, because you never know when you're going to need it, especially when you die and you don't want to spawn in with no armor on and not know how you're going to reclaim your armor, possibly, especially like I said, if it's in the Nether. But as well as this, I already had another friend in this world who had already progressed so well and then put in a lot of time. So he'd already found a bastion. He actually found many different bastions, but we couldn't find a fortress. And by this point, he already found the netherite smithing template. And in this bastion, he was able to retrieve some really cool armor and some sort of enchantments to help everyone out, and also just get that smithing template to make everyone's armor and smith sort of netherite, which is the point I'm actually at in this current world. But obviously, at this point in time, we are just rebuilding our loot and getting back to that stage. But the fortress was so difficult to find in this world. I never have found an entire Minecraft world, or even known of a Minecraft world, to have like 2 or 3 times more bastions than it does have fortresses. Usually the bastion, finding that smithing template is usually one of the harder things to do in the Nether. But within a matter of blocks, there was a bastion literally within 500 blocks straight ahead of where we were going, and we ended up finding that pretty quickly. Well, at least my friend did, and then I ended up finding one myself. And then eventually we did get around to finding the fortress, which did take some time. It took 3 or 4 different attempts of long sessions on trying to explore the Nether. We do not use chunk paste in this world. We do want to just try and explore the world, because I really appreciate understanding the world's exploration aspect as being a fundamental key part of your world's lore. By almost using chunk paste, it feels almost like cheating or getting there too easily, and therefore it takes out a lot of the fun and the exploration aspect in Minecraft, which I am all against and I'm not for. Which I don't, it's not like I blame anyone for using chunk paste. There are times when you just want to use it for the sake of certain things, like finding a certain biome, whatever it may be. But I do really enjoy that aspect of Minecraft, so I just tend to go and sort of vote against it. But finding that fortress meant that we could also get the Eyes of Ender ender eventually once we found the blaze, got enough blaze powder and enough ender pearls, of course, and then eventually being able to locate the stronghold. We wanted to get back to the end as soon as possible to obtain those elytras, following, of course, like I said, our last forever world where we had so much going on in that last world before it got corrupted. Which, of course, if you guys are new to the series or this channel, of course, we have already played a forever world. We already got to a point and eventually we lost it due to corruption, which I'm not going to go into any detail on. I've already gone over it in the last episode and previously on this channel. But also, just going forward, we already have learned our lessons from previous worlds and we know a bit about how to play Minecraft survival at this point in time. So we're not absolute beginners anymore or getting back into the game for the first time again anymore. But in this world, we just want to get back, or me included mainly, that wants to just get that elytra and get back to that stage where you can fly around your forever world and just begin building your large scale build, your mega projects, whatever it may be, because the elytra is godlike and it's like the very next, like the end game point you all want to get to before you start progressing with multiple things. Like in this world, I just haven't started on my base yet because in our world, the seed, as you guys can see, and if you haven't seen episode 1, the seed is amazing, but it's just covered with mountains and lots of different snow, powdered snow, ice peaks, whatever it may be, which makes it really hard to traverse. And without an elytra, I don't typically want to start on my build because I don't want to do anything traditional that I've done in the past. I want to start something inside the mountain, build something that I've not done before, and really incorporate the world and its environment in itself in order to actually do whatever I have in my mind to plan out. And in that sort of future episode that will come out, I will show you what I've started on now at this point in time because we've eventually got the elytra. But of course, at this point in time, we hadn't quite got there. We're up to day 750 before we'd even got into the end or found the stronghold. And trying to find the stronghold was not difficult whatsoever. We found an abundance of those ender pearls. We made them into eyes of ender once we got the blaze powder. And then from that point, we located the stronghold, which was about 2,000 blocks away from where we were in our spawn, which really, in the grand scheme of things, is not that big a deal. It didn't take us long to find it at all. And then eventually we got round to prepping ourselves to fight the ender dragon. But fighting the ender dragon isn't going to be difficult because we've already done it in our previous world. It's not that big a deal, especially like I said, my friend had already found the smithing template for netherite, which makes it a lot easier and almost anticlimactic with how much easier it's going to be. But at the end of the day, that's the way we're going to go about it. That's just the way it's worked out. We found the template first. Like I said, we don't typically find the bastions before we find the fortress, but it just worked out that way. So we already have it, and therefore we just want to get to the end and eventually defeat the dragon, find the end cities, and find an elytra. But in the nether in itself, getting ancient debris, strip mining around was a really good method of obtaining XP and gearing out some good diamond armor. And of course, getting to netherite as well. A little tip in case you guys aren't doing it in this sort of method is making sure you go to the end cities before you make all your armor netherite, because getting netherite armor means you cannot apply any diamond enchantments, the stuff that you will find in abundance in end cities, into your armor without actually upgrading it to netherite first. So a little bit of a tip in order to save on spending any extra netherite ingots that you don't really want to waste. Try and get all your armor from the end cities first before you actually go and make it all into netherite and upgrade it. But I guess it doesn't really matter which way around it is, because if you have an abundance on netherite and you don't really want to lose your armor, then just do it anyway, which is the exact method that we did in our world. We didn't really want to lose our loot. We spent a lot of time in the nether trying to find those fortresses, as I said, so we didn't really want to be messing around with lava and not having any netherite armor. So of course, once we got to that point, that is effectively the method me and my friend chose to go down. And then eventually we are going to get onto the episode 3 where we will defeat the ender dragon, go and clear the end cities, find an elytra, and then begin getting onto the end game builds. Things that I want to do in this world, there's plenty of an abundance of things that I have actually planned out, with a lot of mega projects, like large scale builds that are going to take a long time. Going to use some sort of bespoke build products, things that aren't going to be in abundance, where I'm going to have to go out of my way, like blackstone and stuff like that, to make it a bit more of a laborious task, but also a long-winded, sort of like forever rewarding project. So of course, even though it's going to take a lot longer, it's going to be a lot more satisfying when I build, let's say, a castle, whatever it may be, out of blackstone. But we'll save that for future videos, because like I said, I could end up regretting it. I could start a big build and realize it's going to take a lot more resources and just maybe back down. But we don't like to backtrack in this. If I start on something, I do like to get around to finishing it eventually. And I also want to get around to having a zoo, something like that we didn't manage to complete in our old world due to the corruption. So it's something that I definitely want to get back on track with, get a happy gas setup going, all these sort of large scale projects as well as smaller projects as well, little sort of cool independent builds that are going to incorporate the world's natural environment as well as the seed like structures, and just generally going around and exploring the world and see what this world has to offer, as well as finding things like trial chambers, more ancient cities, even though we found a stupid amount already in this world, as well as carrying out raids and completing them to obtain those totems from dying, as well as trying to find a woodland mansion, something that is always really rare and difficult to find. And just in case you guys weren't aware, I have created a load of guides that are already on this channel. So a part of that 25 episode series of completing Minecraft, there were a lot of guides for help newer players and like returning players like myself who hasn't played this game for over 10 years in survival. So there was lots of guides that I've created. So in case you guys are new, go check out the channel, because there's going to be plenty on there for you guys. And one of those just so happens to be a woodland mansion on how best to find them. So in case you guys are new or you guys aren't aware of how to do certain things, there should be plenty on the channel for you guys, just as like a little bit of a help in case you guys are new to the game, or like I said, if you're a returning player like myself who hasn't played Minecraft survival in a very long time and wasn't aware of all of the latest updates, there should be plenty on there to help you guys. But in summary, fishing is godlike for loot, XP, and just a peaceful method at surviving in a hard or hardcore world, and also to help rebuild any armor that you might lose and just get you back into the game. This has been a really successful tip and strategy that many of people in this world and realm have used and sort of incorporated into getting set up in this world. Something I would definitely suggest. And as well as that, we've carried out plenty of Nether exploration, something that has not been easy by any means, but finding the fortress was very satisfying, getting those blaze rods so that we can get the blaze powder, put them with the eyes of Ender, and locate that stronghold, which will be on episode 3, as well as other things like the raids that we're going to carry out in order to get those totals of undying. So be sure to stick around and follow along in our journey in this new Forever World, this godlike seed that is going to be a really cool and sort of long-term Forever World series that I'm going to create and continue doing on a monthly basis. So stick around in case you guys have enjoyed the video, and as always, do not forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have any tips or any thoughts about playing this game in itself that could help myself out, or any other newer players perhaps that might help out for watching this video for the first time. I'm Vicious Gen. I hope you enjoyed the video and found this useful, and I'll see you in episode 3.